Thank you very much. Thank you, Debbie. 5 years ago, when I decided to enter the world of city politics, I would have scoffed at the notion that I'd be standing here today in this capacity. It's an honor and a privilege, and I thank my fellow Democrats for the confidence you've shown in me and the support you've already given me. I'm truly grateful. I remember sitting there 4 short years ago, a not-so-young but naive freshman alderman, listening intently to a seasoned political veteran, Majority Leader Tom Hoffey, share his wisdom, and I remember thinking to myself, when is this speech going to end? Alderman Hoffey went on and on, most eloquently, I must admit, about the historical significance of the Democratic Party and the people who helped shape this great city and country. He rattled off so many names, most of whom I never heard of. I think he even mentioned a linebacker from the Green Bay Packers just to make sure everyone was still paying attention. Though well-crafted, his speech did not have the impact on me that it should have or could have. As my time on the council rolls into a 5th year, I am more in tune to his message and how important it is to recognize and learn from our forefathers, and yes, mothers, whose thankless efforts have helped shape the party and this city into its current form. We learn from our mistakes so we don't repeat history, but I also think we need to be mindful of just how significant it is to be sitting in these seats and what a privilege it is to represent this great city. It is truly an honor, and whether it is ancient history or recent history, it is imperative that we use all the building blocks available to lead us into a brighter tomorrow. With that in mind, I would like to thank former Mayor Shane Gallo for his 4 years of service. He put his heart and soul into his job, and it would benefit all of us to focus on the good and build upon the positive things he was able to accomplish or set in motion to move the city forward. I also would like to thank my predecessor in this role, former Alderman Matt Dunn, for his leadership and friendship. His tenure as Majority Leader was not without controversy and drama, as most of us know. From my standpoint, I appreciate that Matt fought for us. He fought to preserve the power of the council and not take it for granted, not just for the years he was here, but for the future as well. I hope God gives me the strength to fight for my convictions and for the convictions of the council, and have the stamina to get up the next day and do it all over again. Our role as a governing body should not be taken lightly. We should all have the power to represent our constituents to its fullest extent that we can. I'd like to share a story that will bring us out of history and into the present. After a committee meeting this past fall, Matt and I had a discussion in the parking lot, as many of us often do. Sometimes I think we should hold committee meetings out there. Anyway, after 15 minutes or so of dialogue and laughs, we shook hands and parted ways. When I got home, it wasn't until I walked through my front door that I realized that everything Matt and I had talked about, we disagreed on. There were probably 3 issues, and we didn't see eye to eye on any of them, yet parted ways as friendly as ever, as though we were in complete agreement. Let's face it, we all have a different vantage point and different ideas, but the key is to have these disagreements without being confrontational or taking it personal. Sometimes the best thing we can do as a council is disagree. None of us are here to rubber stamp proposals. Meaningful and significant changes often arise from conversations that may be uncomfortable at first. Debate between open-minded people is not only inevitable but healthy in good government. Alderman Dawson has reportedly stressed solidarity on the council from the day she took office, and she is absolutely right. Solidarity, however, is not about agreeing all the time, but rather respecting each other, listening to each other, and working together for the overall good of the city. We owe it to each other to do this, and we certainly owe it to the people we represent. That said, I would like to make a request to each of you. I won't call it a requirement, but I will check and see how close we get to making this a reality. I would like every alderman to meet with every other alderman one-on-one sometime in the near future. It doesn't have to be extensive or lengthy. It can be before or after meetings, over coffee, at someone's home, wherever, whenever. Our different backgrounds and agendas, our wards are unique, and we represent people and businesses with very different backgrounds and agendas, yet there is a tremendous amount of common ground as well. I think if we all understood the specific needs of our colleagues' constituents, we would not only have a better perspective of the city as a whole, but we will also get to know where each other is coming from. So when there are conflicting opinions, we will understand more fully why someone feels one way or the other. We accomplished some great things. Oh, by the way, just to let you know I'm serious, I made a little chart. Looks like the Super Bowl squares, which has everyone's name going across. So I'm going to X off when people tell me that they've met with someone, so we can see if we can keep track of. Yeah, sure.
Laser ball camera.
Yeah, it'll be the laser tag fund. We accomplished some great things in 2015, from the seemingly insignificant smaller resolutions such as removing a century-old bicycle registration fee of 25 cents, to a major charter change that provides a safeguard for the sale of water outside the city of Kingston. I am very proud to have been part of that historic change, because for me, that's how government works. Concerned citizens and elected officials worked hard together, and ultimately, it was left to the voters to enact this major change to protect our water supply. I believe we have positioned the city for a lot of positive changes going forward. Our introduction of an infrastructure asset management plan with both short and long-term goals is something long overdue. Our city departments have budgeted for capital projects, which is nothing new, but without a concrete game plan, the implementation of these projects lacks direction, particularly when it comes to paying for them. There are several key components to this plan, such as creating a spreadsheet that each department can use to develop and maintain an inventory of assets and develop a risk-based prioritization scoring system so we can determine which assets have the highest risk of failure at a given time. When we fully implement this plan, we will be better equipped to handle infrastructure problems and better positioned to save and pay for future repairs in a proactive, not reactionary basis. If this was done decades ago, we wouldn't be in the crisis mode we are in now, with so many of our underground assets in need of overhaul. Another major and somewhat under-the-radar accomplishment in 2015 was the passing from our Economic Development Office the brownfield study for the entire waterfront. Too many projects and opportunities in the past have shown great promise only to reach an uncertain end for economic reasons. Having the ability to clear this major hurdle in a universal way opens the door for development and economic opportunities. I look forward to working with developers who can utilize this valuable land to help drive the future economy of not just the waterfront, but the entire city. Clearly, the challenges facing us in 2016 are real and expensive, as Alderman Brown eloquently put. I want to thank the department heads for their efforts to continuously do more with less and come to the table each year with a budget that is mindful of the taxpayers. I think we have done a great job keeping spending down despite uncontrollable and unexpected circumstances. I think we could do a better job in sharing services with other municipalities and the county, and I urge everyone to bring forth ideas to accomplish this. I think we also need to put a lid on overruns from projects that go beyond deadlines or the scope of what was originally projected. Strong and binding language needs to be written into contracts with consultants or outside engineering companies, because I, for one, am tired of having our hands tied and being left with no option because we are too far down the road to stop and turn back. We need more accountability from all bidders so Kingston knows that the price we agree on at the beginning of a project is the bill we will receive at the end of it. Obviously, there are exceptions, but it seems lately this has been the rule, and we need to take steps to change that. Another huge area of concerns are the two words I've been hearing for so long it has become like white noise: unfunded mandates. It's time this phrase becomes more than words. Simply put, more often than not, existing and new regulations from the state come underfunded or with no funding at all. This means we have to pay for them and either raise taxes beyond reason, which for the most part we have been able to avoid, or it means to take money from existing programs or elsewhere from our budget. An example of this is the health insurance number that appears annually in our budget. We can make a huge difference if we can find a way to get this number down significantly, and I'd like to see us make a strong effort to do this while obviously staying within the regulations that we are obligated to. The bottom line is we need to work with the state, but we need the state to work with us. It is crucial that the governor's office understand what we already know. Kingston could be the epicenter of economic development for the entire state of New York. We are poised and positioned to change the landscape of this state, but we need the state to see this and invest in Kingston accordingly. Similarly, we are facing uncertainty with our own county. Clearly, if Kingston can be the driving force of economic growth in New York State, it is imperative that our county leaders appreciate how critical Kingston is to Ulster County. I will see how the sales tax issue plays out, and hopefully we will not be put in a position of desperation. I have faith that this will not happen, and we can all thrive together. The situation has been a warning shot, however, at the very least, and we need to seriously think about how we do business and how we can become a more prosperous municipality without relying on outside money. I semi-joked a few years ago that I didn't like our $35 million budget, and I actually wanted to see our spending double. It raised a few eyebrows, but the follow-up was that I wanted to see our revenue triple. The vast majority of time spent at finance meetings deal with cutting, saving, spending, sharing services, etc. We don't spend nearly enough time talking about creative, new, and permanent ways of generating more revenue. Let 2016 be the year that we do that. Just like our personal finances, if you went to work tomorrow and your boss said they were tripling your salary, don't you think you would improve the quality of your life dramatically and at the same time save money to have a significant emergency fund down the road? Of course you could. And that's what we need to do as a council for this city. This may be the most important thing you do in the next 2 years to help come up with ways to increase revenue in Kingston and help give current taxpayers the much-needed relief they deserve. I truly believe the most important people in turning the financial fortunes of Kingston around are people we have not even met yet. People with money and ideas of all walks of life come to Kingston, and we need to figure out a way to keep them here and get them to move their families and businesses here to help create jobs and redirect Kingston the way I know you all believe we can. We need to sell the vision and convince them to want to be part of the solution. I talked about hurdles that are being cleared on the waterfront. It is easy to see how development downtown can make a difference. We also have to keep our eyes and minds open to ideas that can add revenue but may not be so obvious or popular, such as the shooting range that has been proposed on Prince Street. I heard from a Kingston resident who firmly believes that an RV park at the Kingston Point should be explored, and I agree. This could be a great partnership, and it could also help provide assistance for the drainage issues down there. Alderman Mills, during discussions over banning of plastic bags, brought up the idea of trying to get a plastic recycling company to expand to Kingston, and what better place than the Kingston Business Park off Delaware Avenue. I look forward to working with Mary Ann to make this a reality. I also look forward to work with the newly formed Art District to create more and stable business opportunities to Midtown. The linear park that Ulster County Executive Mike Hine has proposed to connect Kingston Plaza to the Strand can be a real game changer and will cost Kingston City taxpayers nothing. Now that the court has ordered the trains and contaminants to be cleared off the tracks of Cornell Street, this vision is within 2 years of becoming a reality. This will bring a tremendous amount of foot and bike traffic through the heart of Kingston. I expect this to open the door for a lot of new business opportunities along this path. I know it is complicated because there are multiple owners involved, but the land off of Field Court in the middle of Kingston would be an ideal place for development. Maybe we can make something happen there and perhaps even bring in some businesses like a men's clothing store. Where can we currently buy men's clothes within the city limits? Additionally, how about a kids' clothing store or a toy store right there, walking distance, right in Midtown? Maybe a children's museum. Then across Broadway, we still have the site of the former King's Inn. Maybe the Art District can help tie in UPAC and bring in a new, exciting film-related business there. How about the former Uptown Parking Garage? Let's revisit that and see if we can get the state-of-the-art parking garage and shops and condos similar to what was proposed nearly a decade ago. That could be a serious game changer. And then there's the 350 acres of land, the AVR. How can we make this a reality finally? Let's work with our neighbor, the town of Ulster, to bring 32 to the river with more restaurants, shops, and the continuation of a hiking trail on the Strand. These are just a few ideas and they are merely the tip of the iceberg. The opportunities in Kingston are great. We just have to believe in it and sell it to the people who can share this vision. In closing, I don't expect us to look at Kingston through rose-colored glasses and be unreasonable in what we can accomplish. We certainly need to have a clear vision of what's wrong in order to fix problems. However, as a governing body, we do need to be positive. We need to lead from the front, and when everyone else says no, we need to be able to say yes. I believe in this council, I believe in this administration, and together I firmly believe we can make Kingston the best place in New York State to live, work, and raise a family. I look forward to working with all of you, so when future aldermen take a historic look back, they say 2016 was a year that the fortunes of Kingston changed for the better forever. Thank you.
Thank you. Very good speeches. We will now go to claims and